Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the series I don't really know what to call yet. I guess just why it's bad. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Plunder Patrol and looking at why it's bad. And actually, I haven't looked up if it's topped, so hold on. I can't find any info on if it's topped or not, so we'll assume that it has not. But, anyways, we're going to be looking at why they aren't very good. So, Plunder Patrol are a series of water fiends. They're all level 4 in the main deck, with the series of Plunder Patrol ships in the extra deck that are all level 8s or a rank 4. And I guess you can't even say all level 8s. But they're a series of water fiends that tag into fiends from the extra deck of different attributes, except for Blackbeard, the Plunder Patrol captain. And they all have different effects when they get sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, or hand or field to the graveyard. I don't know if they trigger from being sent to the deck, but either way, um, their main idea is to tag into their extra deck cards when your opponent controls monsters of different attributes. So I think Whitebeard and Redbeard do that, as well as Blackbeard does that. Golden Hair is kind of just. I'll get into more of her later. Golden Hair and Bluebeard are just extenders, basically, and Black Eyes is just recovery. So the deck does have really good cards in the form of Blackbeard and Plunder Patrol Ship Jord as their main pivotal um, extra deck cards. Blackbeard basically just has Whitebeard's effect on an extra deck guy that lets you draw a card uh, once you summon a card from your extra deck. So basically, because all of the extra deck plunders require you to discard a card except for Jord, you will have a high chance of drawing into your plunders to discard off of your other plunders effects. And it also equips itself, which turns on the Plunder Patrol's bonus effects. Jord is also like just filling in the last slot as we have Lice, Bran, and Mowerk for the three other attributes of fire, dark, and light. So this is our Earth extra deck card. You're kind of not really wanting to summon this off of Blackbeard or anything like that. It's basically just to set up a summon for Lice with Blackbeard. So yeah, there are a lot of good main deck cards in the form of Whitebeard, Golden Hair, and Black Eyes. Whitebeard is um, one of the crazier just combo starters of being sent to the graveyard. It summons any plunder from your deck. It does lock you, but it's so good. Golden Hair lets you discard plunders, triggering thus something like a Whitebeard effect. So if you open Golden Hair Whitebeard, basically you can summon any plunder in the world. It also doesn't banish itself, and it can special summon itself from the graveyard as well. Golden Hair is a crazy extender in the forms of being able to summon itself from grave and from hand. Starting your combos or keeping up with your combos. And Black Eyes is just a very solid recovery tool. I'm pretty sure Plunder Patrol Booty is also like this, where it just recycles your plunders back into your hand, or summons them with Booty. So why are these cards not very good? Well, the main problem right now is Jord summons a light fiend token to your opponent's field, and you can imagine why that's a problem already. Fiendsmith is becoming less popular in the meta, but people are a lot of decks are still running this package, especially in Master Duel. You do not want to give your opponent a light fiend. The cards are also very expensive, right? You're oftentimes going to have to spend your entire hand just to get out your end board of like Lice and then some follow up. And at that time, you're probably only going to have one or two cards in hand, which, because all of the plunder control monsters require you to discard plunder cards, if you spend all of your resources on your combo, you're not going to have. There's a good chance you just don't have a plunder to discard, meaning your combo that you spent all your resources on is basically just a board of vanillas. And there's also no wind attribute shit, meaning one attribute in the game just gets a free pass to completely mollywop this deck. So how can we make it better? Today we are going to be looking at a series of cards I've created in order to improve this archetype. So now, of course, there's no art because I'm not an artist, and I don't want to use AI. But here is Plunder Patrol Ship Zephyr. I don't know how to say it. It's like a ghost ship. If this card is special summoned, you can equip one Plunder Patrol monster from your hand, graveyard, or face-up banishment to this card. If a Plunder Patrol monster you control is required to discard a Plunder Patrol card, you can banish a Plunder Patrol card from your graveyard instead. If a Plunder Patrol card you control leaves the field from an opponent's card, you can send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard. While this card is equipped with a Plunder Patrol card, when your opponent special summons a monster or activates a card or effect, which includes an effect to special summon a monster. Quick effect, return this card to the extra deck, negate the summon, then you can special summon one Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck. Also, until the end of the next turn, you can only special summon Fiend monsters. You can only use each effect of Plunder Patrol ship the fucker once per turn. So basically, it sets up plunders in your back row for this card. It plays around the fact that Plunder Patrol extra deck monsters are too expensive having to discard. It recycles stuff from your graveyard, especially banishment since it's banishing your own cards. And it also is Solemn Warning. It's just, the deck needs something this good just to even be a little viable. It also tags out, similar to what Jord does. I feel like I should have made it tag out then equip something. But it's just, sticky. It becomes a problem. And it also is, it helps with disruption. If any card you control, if a Plunder card you control gets dealt with, you get to deal with your opponent's other card. It also makes sense for sorry, I'm a little sick. Thematically, it makes sense since you're sending away, you're shooting missiles, I guess. I would imagine that this would look something like either a plane or like a airship. So yeah, it's very strong. Some might think too strong, but that's kind of the point. I want these decks to be good and be able to complete with something like fucking K9. Here's another Treasure Trap card. I just felt like they needed more disruption. And here it is, Plunder Patrol Barrage. Target cards your opponent controls equal to the number of Plunder Patrol cards you have equipped to monsters you control. Destroy those targets. You can banish this card from a graveyard, send one Plunder Patrol monster from your deck to your graveyard. So, actually that doesn't do anything, I just realized. I guess it sounds like something like a golden hair. But basically it's just extra disruption and it helps you with, for follow-up, or it helps you start your combos if you send it off something like a Foolish Burial Goods. This card's probably going to be a little too crazy for a lot of you, but here's Silentbeard, the Plunder Patrol Saboteur. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard to your opponent's field by sending one card from your hand to the graveyard. If this card is special summoned, your opponent can summon one Plunder Patrol monster from their deck. Then they declare one attribute. All monsters you currently control become that attribute. Also, for the rest of the turn, neither player can special summon except for Plunder Patrol monsters. If this card is sent from the hand or face-up monsters onto the graveyard, you can add one Plunder Patrol card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of Silentbeard, the Plunder Patrol Saboteur, once per turn. So basically this infiltrates your opponent's field. It lets you summon plunders from your deck, and it also turns your monsters into the correct attribute that your opponent would want. It also locks both players a la Gigantic Sprite, just so you can't, for that turn, make advantage of the free material for both players. If you are somehow able to, I guess I could have made it unable to be used for material besides for plunders, but if you had something like a IP Masquerade, or if you had something like if you're able to fuse into other Fiendsmith cards, you can't use this card as a material. Actually, I'm reading this now. That's not even how that would work, huh? Alright, well, that was a little bit of a fuck up, but here's Plunder Patrol Set Sail. So this is similar to Memento Bone Party in a way. Send one Plunder Patrol card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Special summon one Plunder Patrol monster from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn unless you use Plunder Patrol monsters as material. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Plunder Patrol monster equipped with a Plunder Patrol card, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then negate that activation. Then you can equip one monster from your opponent's field or graveyard to a monster you control, and it's once per turn. Basically, just extra disruption, extra combo starting, basically anything the deck needs. That coupled with a stronger extra deck option to sit on, I feel like this would really help the deck. Let me know what you think. You guys thought that my Kaiju cards, especially the draw spell, was really, really too good. I disagree. I think it was barely playable even with all those buffs. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think.